Where are the upsets coming this weekend? I got a sneaking suspicion that Penn State, Ohio State, marquee, main event treatment, ditto for Tennessee, Alabama. But, Duke's playing Florida State this Saturday. I think you know that. You should know that if you don't already. What is the upset alert meter set at? With Florida State favored by 14.5, I got this one sitting at a 6. I have a little nervousness about this. Riley Leonard, the quarterback for Duke, is expected to play. It sounds very encouraging if you listen to Mike Elko up there. So what do we have? We got a quarterback returning. We got Duke with a top 10 passing defense. And FSU, sometimes these stat profiles can be misleading. So I will grant you that before these words ever come out of my mouth. But Florida State has the 37th rated passing game when it just comes down to yards per game. That is a metric that needs to be contextualized. I know that. But just to give you an idea of where they stack up, 37th in pass yards per game, 45th in rush yards per game. It's an offense that has explosive tendencies, but consistently hasn't been top 10 all year. Certainly has that ceiling, though. Is Duke the kind of team? Is a Mike Elko team, a coach that has yet to lose a game by more than one possession in his entire career at Duke, which is now in its second season, is that the kind of team that you just dispose of? Also, this year, Duke, opponents' points per game, 7, 7, 14, 7, 21, that's what Notre Dame scored, and 3. One little caveat also, Florida State, hold on, let me post-it pop there. With Riley Leonard coming back, who can run the ball really well, Florida State 71st in the country in run defense. I think they could keep this very close. I think Florida State's going to win the game. I'm not picking the upset, which is going to suck if Duke wins. We're just shaving that right out of the show if they win. But I'm going to put a 6 on this. I think it bears close watching. Next up, let's head to Lee County, Alabama. It is the only university in which I refer to the county it is parked in, that is Auburn, in Lee County, Alabama. Ole Miss, minus 6.5. Beautiful B-roll. Who in the world found the sunrise B-roll there? Was that Bradley? Bradley's done good work today. I'm putting an 8 on this. I have concerns. I'm telling you I have concerns. But Josh, didn't Auburn just get blown out by LSU? Yes, friends, that's why I have concerns. Have we forgotten the last time Auburn came home in wounded animal mode? Have we forgotten the Texas A&M debacle, followed closely thereafter by taking Georgia to the absolute limit? Well, they went down to LSU and they got splattered and they licked their wounds. They come back home. It's a night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's Hugh Freeze versus Ole Miss. This is a pretty big deal. There are a lot of folks, aside from Hugh Freeze, in that building down there in Auburn, Alabama, that have a lot of ties to that Ole Miss program that would love to put one on him here. And you're a 6.5-point home dog in the process. Ole Miss is 48th in the country in run defense. I think Auburn can hang. This is contrary to what LSU showed you. This is not a defense that it's easy to just put away. And so I think there'll be an inspired performance Saturday. I'm putting an 8 on this one. I have concerns. Now, you should know the JP poll is slightly lower on Ole Miss than the AP poll is. I think we're 19th or 20th, somewhere around there. Now, I know that sounds like a big gap between 13 and 20. In reality, it's like 2 points, so it's not a big gap at all. It just looks that way on a graphic. Next up, this one's off everyone's radar. You know who Oklahoma plays Saturday? Anyone? As I stretch because my shoulders are sore. They play Central Florida this Saturday. Central Florida is facing Oklahoma. Oklahoma coming off a bye. Oklahoma's favored by 17.5. In fact, both of them are off byes. So let that be of record. John Reese Plumlee looks like he's playing this week. So he's been out for a number of weeks. That's the UCF quarterback. Look, I don't know what to expect. When quarterbacks first come back from injury, I never know what to expect. Leonard at Duke, John Reese Plumlee here with UCF, but he's averaging 276 through the air and about 81 on the ground when he plays this year, when he's healthy. And I always am very curious how teams come out of bye weeks. Some teams are shot out of a cannon coming out of a bye week. Some of them are a little sluggish coming out of a bye week. So it's only a 4 on the upset alert meter. I expect Oklahoma to eventually take care of business, but it's another game. I just want to keep an eye on it. Now Oklahoma has been the kind of team that just pulls away this year, so they could be up 35-3 at halftime, and we just yawn and say, oh, Boomer Sooner, next up. So I also know Gus Malzahn has it somewhere deep down inside himself to pull off one shocker per year. So let's keep an eye on that one. Tennessee at Bama is a game we've already broken down. The video is on the YouTube channel. I think I'm going to put an upset alert setting of 8 on this one because Bama can't pull away. Bama can't put teams away. And, well, they haven't. Let me rephrase. They haven't really put teams away. Looked like they were going to last week. Nope, 3-point game. A lot of what ifs here. What if Tennessee runs the ball as effectively as they did against A&M? What if the shot play, what if the deep explosive pass play is not there for Alabama? If it's not there, they're stalling offensively. And Tennessee has a lot to say about that because they're really good defensively too. What if Joe Milton on abandoned plays, scramble runs, extended plays, hits a couple of those deep shots himself? Well, all of that can happen, and it could very well lead to an upset win for Tennessee. Now, I picked Alabama in this game. My gut was to take Bama to cover. The model said otherwise, so I'm not betting it. I took Tennessee to cover, Bama to win. Think it's going to be a close game. And because of that, yeah, there's an upset alert potential here. I'm going to put an 8 on it. Utah at USC, same thing. I'm putting an 8 on this one. The video breakdown for this game is on the YouTube channel as well, but I did want to just make a point to emphatically say, I get the sense a lot of people just expect a bounce back from USC. It's like automatically, ooh, they were really bad turnovers last week. They'll come home, conference opponent, especially one that beat them twice last year, including in the Pac-12 championship game, revenge-minded. They'll just get right. Let me give you a little word of advice for someone who doesn't have a great track record picking against Utah. Don't assume you can get right against Utah. There are some teams out there that you could look at as a get-right game. No one gets right against Utah. You may beat them, but that is not a team you look at and say, oh, good, we'll get right against them. We'll work on some stuff. We'll get some guys playing time. Dude, they may be up on you in the fourth quarter. And like I said the other day, USC, 85th run defense in the country. They're just going to find it this week? Like Utah just won't be able to run the ball? The turnovers for USC will just disappear this week against the best defense in the Pac-12? It'll just work out? I don't know exactly how people figure that. And so the line here is USC minus 6.5 or 7, and they're at home. They're in the Coliseum, so home field's baked in there. This is an 8 on the upset alert meter for me. I think Utah, even without Jesse at quarterback, has got a real shot at winning the game outright. There's one more game I wanted to talk to you about because it is a me versus the model special. You guys know I put out the JP poll on Tuesday. I don't agree with everything on that poll. TCU, for example, is 23rd. How? I'm looking at you, model. How are you putting you? I put TCU. TCU is rated and Duke is not. Like, what nonsense is that? So anyway, TCU goes to Kansas State this weekend. I really like Kansas State in this spot. But the model is screaming, take TCU. You're getting a glimpse of what Friday Night Lines is like. A lot of times it's just me bickering with the model and it's you suggesting games that I should look at. Well, if you were to ask me about TCU and Kansas State, I would look at the model. I would say, oh, wow, TCU, if you get them plus 6.5, has a 61.6% cover probability according to the model. And then commentary ensues, and I say, model's outside its mind. Not only do I think that's wrong, I think Kansas State's the right side this week. And I don't know that the model's ever met Avery Johnson. And Avery Johnson had 5 rushing touchdowns last week. And I know Chris Kleiman, to his credit, trying to be loyal and true to Will Howard. He's probably looking at playing both of them this week. Avery Johnson's going to end up being the option there, I think. And I think he's also the spark plug for that team to kind of go on a second half run. So I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover. It's not a best bet for me, but the model says we should go elsewhere. The model says we should go the opposite direction, and I just think the model's wrong. It's got a good heart. It's got good intentions, but it's wrong.